Ted, it's pretty obvious from your experience in question time throughout this week that in adopting a say no position to the safeguard mechanism, the government's going to hang this like an albatross around your neck. Are you prepared to live with that and a prolonged climate war, if you like, all the way through another election cycle?
Oh, look, Greg, I'll leave it to you and others to make the political assessment as to what may or may not happen. Our focus has to be squarely on what's the right thing here to do. And in our judgment, this is a very poor piece of public policy that is ultimately going to be paid by Australians, and it has a very serious risk of Australian businesses having to close. That's what our focus is. As for what are the political ramifications down the track, well, you know, that's got to be secondary.
Right.
We've got to focus on, is this the right thing for Australia? And our view is absolutely not.
But the public policy is, in effect, your own. That's why the government adopted it. All they've then done is adjust the baselines or the effect, the amount that each entity will have to pay. It looks like you balked at the final hurdle because of that adjustment.
So, with respect, I disagree. It's actually not our policy whatsoever. The Labor Party, to their credit, are politically cunning. I give them that. What they have done is they have picked up an existing coalition framework, but they've turned it upside down. They've turned it into a Frankenstein, nothing like we had it. They are introducing a carbon tax here. Now, they weren't clear about this when they went to the election. This is having an effect on businesses. And I've had businesses through my door again this week in the Parliament. Yeah. They will not be able to meet the near 5% declines every single year on their emissions reduction. They don't have the technology. It isn't available in the market. Now, the government knows this, but they're happy to see major Australian businesses fall short of these targets they're setting, because that's when a carbon tax kicks in.
But you support the targets, so is there...
No, we don't.
Well,
we don't support this.
2050
This is really important because the government has introduced yearly targets through this scheme now on major Australian businesses. They have to reduce their emissions by 5%. Now, that is the most punitive, the most harsh conditions anywhere in the world. Nowhere does that, but now with the Australian government, at a time when already businesses are on their knees because of Labor's high energy prices, they're forcing them to reduce emissions by 5% each year. Businesses can't do it. Technology isn't there,
but
so we can't support it.
There are only waypoints to your 2030 and your 2050. I suppose the question is, there is no cost-free way to get to those reduction targets for this nation, and this is adopted now as the law of the land. So what mechanism would you come up with to deliver those cuts? Yeah,
look, I think it's a fair question to say, what would our alternate be here? We look at the world very differently. Now, we all want to get to the same place. There's no question about where we're trying to get to, and that is a decarbonised Australian economy. But there are different pathways to get there. We believe that you need to back in industry, enterprise, engineering. Technology is the only way you can decarbonise. Labor has decided that the best way to decarbonise the Australian economy is through a new taxation regime. Yeah. Now, my view is that decapitates an economy. It doesn't decarbonise it.
So these carrots, if you were to use them, and I assume you're already examining all of this, rather than sticks, would be off taxpayers' funds from the budget? Well,
whether you call it carrots and sticks, the problem we're talking about here is Labor's introducing a punitive carbon tax, which is in fact the harshest in the world. And we've got to make a decision as a political party, is this in the interest of Australia or not? And we're coming down on the side of saying, well, no.
Okay.
And by the way, what we found out today, not today, but this week, Greg, Labor actually has not had Treasury model this. So, and that's no small point. They do not know the impact on businesses or the prices Australians will pay. They haven't modelled it. They're prepared to go through and legislate.
Some people have pointed out, this is very much at the margins, but some people have pointed out there is not a written official statement about the coalition's position on this. Just to be clear, although it's been discussed at joint parties, is it a formal no to all elements of this?
It has already gone through our party room,
okay.
and we have decided that Labor's carbon tax is not in the interest of Australia, and therefore we shall not be supporting it.
Even if that means sitting on the same side and joining the Greens in a vote against?
Well, this is where it sort of gets into people's political commentary. We would never be changing our view on what's in the interest of Australians because somebody's going to decide to sit next to us. I mean, people can play the politics of that. Is this good public policy? Yes or no? The answer's no. Right. And so we can't support it, Greg.
I think we'll be talking about this again probably next time you're back here